just want to let you guys know it is now almost 2 weeks since we found out that I was pregnant. I'm trying to talk loud because my AC is running, so I'm sorry if you hear it in the background. But we found out I was pregnant the morning of beta day, so I took a at-home pregnancy test and I wanted to find out that way. I did not want to find out through blood work. I know everyone's different, but I just wanted to find out at home. So we found out we were pregnant. We went to get our beta, or my beta, and I didn't get it till like 10 p.m. that night, so that was like the most anxious I've ever been. That's a lie. I'm more anxious now. But anyway, my beta came back at 2:15, which was really good for considering 9 days. That was 9 days post 5-day transfer. They had me do another beta, not a beta, but another blood draw. It was supposed to be 2 days later, but it was a Memorial Day weekend, so I had to wait an extra day. So I did it the upcoming Tuesday, and I came back at 2:44. Not 2:44, 5:44. Oh my god. Which was a really good number. And since then, CNY wanted me to go do another blood draw and ultrasound the following Tuesday, which would have been 2 days ago. But all my imaging centers were booked, so I had to ask CNY to push it out to Thursday because that was the first available date and time with any of the imaging centers around here. So it is now Thursday. I just got my blood draw, so that's done. I probably won't get those results for several hours, even though it's a stat order. LabCorp takes forever. My ultrasound's in like 40 minutes and I'm like terrified. I should be excited, but I've been more anxious than anything about this whole thing. I feel like I haven't really enjoyed it other than when we saw the positive pregnancy test. At least I haven't been able to enjoy it. Not that it's been bad, I keep worrying about worst case scenario or just waiting for a shoe to fall, or for the shoe to drop. I can't talk. So I feel just kind of very disassociated with the whole pregnancy. I haven't been pregnant long, so I mean, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of have a lot of mixed feelings about different things with this, so don't get me wrong though, I am forever grateful that at this moment in time in my life I am pregnant, because it hasn't happened in the last 2 years. But I guess a part of me is not allowing myself to be excited just because of fear of what can happen and all that. So symptom wise, I've been okay. I know a few days before the pregnancy test and several days following the positive pregnancy test, it was mostly all like mid and lower back pain and kind of like this weird full feeling in my uterus. And that's the one thing that kind of gave me an inkling that I could be pregnant. But again, it was my first transfer too, so I wasn't sure what to expect or what to feel. Sorry, I'm in a parking lot and there's a bunch of people, so I keep getting distracted, so that's why I'm not really looking at the camera, and I'm afraid of people judging me if they see me talking to myself. But other than that, I did start getting tired and more sleepy. I do go to bed. I get really tired around 9 after my progesterone and oil shot. I don't know if it's that specifically makes me tired, but I always get super sleepy after it. It's only been a couple days where I've had to really take a nap in the middle of the day because I just am tired. And I'm hungry. I am hungry a lot more. I typically only had to eat like a snack at work, and then I could eat dinner at home and I'd be good. Now I'm starving in the morning. I have to eat something small, so George got me like instant oatmeal pack so I can eat in the morning at work. I have to eat like a snack at work too around the lunch hour. It's been avocado toast from Dunkin' Donuts recently just because it's cheap and I like it. And I have to eat like a small snack when I get home from work, and then I have to eat dinner. I haven't had constipation. I know some people get that. And for today, I don't know if it's because I'm nervous, but I'm having more bowel movements in one day than I typically need to. So I'm like, I don't know. I had sore breasts like for one day, and that was like this past Saturday, but that only lasted two, maybe 3 hours, and it was pretty mild, and it was just like in my left one. And yesterday I had like just the mildest of mild nausea. Like I didn't feel it in my stomach. It was more like a muscle reaction in my throat, or like kind of like below my jaw area. And that lasted for like an hour, maybe 2. And it was only if I leaned forward a bit and when I took sips of like my Starbucks drink, which I'm not really drinking coffee. Usually I love coffee. I'm not in the mood for coffee, so it's just been like refreshers or Dunkin' refreshers, but for whatever reason that one made me slightly nauseous, but that hasn't come back either. So yeah, I'm just waiting for my ultrasound. We'll see how that goes. I'm worried. I'm gonna see if I can record. If I can't, I might try to take pictures. If I can't do that, then I might just secretly audio record. I don't know. We'll see. Wish me luck. I'm really nervous. I keep thinking worst case scenario, and I honestly don't think I'm gonna be able to enjoy this pregnancy until I'm like at 20 weeks or something, and that feels so far away. So wish me luck.
And is something the black space is just like a void or something?
No, that's the gestational sac.
Okay.
And then this is the yolk sac.
Okay.
And this possibly is a second yolk sac, not sure.
Okay.
It's too small, and I don't see a fetal hole on this one. So. But the sac is measuring like 5 weeks.
Okay.
So that's it. I'm gonna take this out.
Thank you.
Hey guys, it's been a little bit. I know the last video, it was actually about a week ago, where I went to LabCorp to get my blood work and ultrasound done. I'll probably have the clip of the ultrasound at the end of this video. But the reason why it's like a week later is because we had a really big scare. So my blood work was fine, but we went to go get the ultrasound done. Of course, it's a transvaginal ultrasound, just due to how early it is. Good lord, sorry, I have like hair stuck in my... Anyway, we went to get the ultrasound done, and I had like this anxiety attack afterwards. So usually it's not the radiologist doing the scan, it's usually a tech. Sometimes doctors do it. It wasn't a doctor. Like going through CNY, you go through an imaging center, so it's always a tech, and then like a radiologist interprets it later. So my tech wasn't saying much, and he had obviously like the probe in for like 10 minutes or so, and my anxiety was building up because usually I'd hear like, oh, okay, there it is, we see a sac, we see like nothing. It didn't say anything for like the whole 10 minutes. So like in my head, it could have been less than 10 minutes, it felt like 10 minutes though. So in my head I'm like just biting my lips and keeping myself from crying. It was really hard. At the time I was like 5 weeks 4 days, 5 weeks 5 days, and at the end of it the tech let me know that I was measuring about 5 weeks. So when the tech left, I just burst into tears. I was just crying, and George was like, what's wrong? And I'm just like, that was the most scariest thing ever, because I'm not scared of transvaginal ultrasounds. I'm used to it, considering IVF and fertility and doing all that. But I was just waiting for him to be like, there's nothing there, or there's no yolk. And the fact he said 5 weeks instead of like almost 6 weeks, my mind just started spiraling. And I was bleeding afterwards too, which I knew would happen. But once I calmed down a little bit, we left. I went to work. And when I went to work, I was bleeding still pretty heavily, like bright red, like maybe day 1 of your period type thing. And I was so scared. And I messaged CNY because I was at work and I couldn't just sit on the phone. And you know, the waiting time is usually like 40 minutes, like an hour, 20 minutes until you get somebody. So I just sent them a message. And I just kind of went throughout the day. And I constantly go to the bathroom, check myself, see if the bleeding was lightening up. At one point, I passed a really big clot. Like, now, it wasn't like the size of my hand, but it was maybe the length of like the end of my palm to maybe like this first knuckle right here. And it was like as thick as yarn, but it was like this long, thick clot. I don't know. For me, that was huge. When I pass clots like during my period, they're small little dots. And it was bright red, and there was a lot of blood, and I freaked out. CNY called me and they told me to put me on pelvic rest, and they said to go to LabCorp again tomorrow, get another blood test to make sure things are progressing, like that your HCG is increasing. And then I went and told my boss and my supervisor that I had an unexpected appointment I had to do tomorrow or the next day, and I just busted out crying, just saying like, I'm scared, I don't know what to expect, because they didn't know I was pregnant. I wasn't planning on telling anybody. I wanted to tell my parents first, which I still haven't done. And they gave me a hug and they told me, you know what, don't stay. If you want to go home, go home. I stayed for like 20 minutes and then I left. They let me go home. And I kind of just cried at home through the whole day, because I was just, in my head, I'm like, I'm miscarrying this baby. I'm losing my baby. Like, we didn't even get a legit ultrasound yet, and I'm already, like, we got this far, and I was just crying the whole day. I went to LabCorp the next morning. I got my blood draw, and afterwards I was just praying, and I'm like, God, please just give me some sense of peace, because that was like the scariest thing. I don't know. After that, it's like I just kind of knew everything was gonna be okay. Not that I still wasn't slightly anxious about it, but I didn't want to let fear control my day. And I just prayed, I'm like, God, please don't let fear overcome me. Please give me the confidence to know that everything's in your control, and that your hand is on this, and like, you know, whatever the news is that I can handle it, or that I can at least go home to, like, you know, worst case scenario. So the whole day through work, I was actually okay. Like, I wasn't crying or like fearfully anxious. I was still anxious to get an answer. But CNY sent me a message. No, they actually called me. They called me and they let me know that my numbers were rising, still good, and that they still want to keep me on pelvic rest, which I still am on pelvic rest to this day, and that everything looked good. They said there was no subchronic hematoma, which is like like a little pool of blood in your uterus. It's very common in IVF, and usually when you do like ultrasound, like transvaginal ultrasounds, it can kind of cause that little pocket of blood to open up and release. It could have been my cervix, but I'm thinking it could have been a hematoma just because I had a huge clot. I could be wrong, but there was no signs of a hematoma in my first ultrasound. And they wanted me to go back and get another ultrasound this week. I was scared to schedule one, but I called around. Unfortunately, everyone's booked out, and I finally got an ultrasound, not for this week, but next week, Friday. I did do blood work though. They did want me to still do blood work, so I did a repeat with LabCorp 2 days ago, and the day after like my miscarriage scare, my HCG level was at 14,000. This week it was at 56,000, almost 57. So we're still rising really well, and we're in a good place. So far we're good. One of my friends I made at CNY, she transferred the same day as me. She actually was able to get an ultrasound today. She got a really strong heartbeat and she was discharged, so she's on her way with her OB. I called my OB anyway, even though I'm not discharged, to see if I can get scheduled. The first availability was August 12th. I'm gonna be basically in my second trimester by that point, and I'm like, what's the point? But I'm scheduled with her. So basically CNY told me that next week with my last ultrasound and lab work, after that I will be discharged as long as they can see a heartbeat, but they said at that point you usually can. It's not that hard to see one. But we're good. Baby's doing good. It's still hard for me to believe that I'm pregnant, even though I am having some symptoms come up now. I guess I'm still like fearfully cautious to get excited about it, but we're good. Not really any scares at the moment, but we're trying to enjoy it along with the symptoms that are around. But I'll keep you guys updated with the next information that we have come through, and hopefully the next one is possibly like my last appointments with CNY, and just kind of gonna be updates through my pregnancy until babe gets here. Still praying that babe gets here, but I know I'm such a pessimist, but I'd rather prepare for the worst than expect the best and be surprised with the worst. So that's just how I am. We have Ty right here. Ty. But thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.